days, and yet you need that money to then go and purchase your things, you can bring that invoice that you've given to Nile Breweries, for example, bring it to the bank and say, I have an invoice that I've given to this corporate. Because the corporate is very strong, we can ably call that corporate and say, can you confirm this invoice? Once that invoice is confirmed, we're then able to release that money to you at the time earlier than they would have paid you. So that when Nile Breweries pays you after 30 days, you do not have then cash flow constraints. We take the money, for example, if it was 50 shillings, we take off the 25 that we gave you and then we release the 25 to you. So that then you continuously work, you have working capital rather than waiting for your payer to pay you. So those are some of the things that you can take advantage of that can help you to run your business smoothly without having those gaps. Then, of course, there is equity financing. I earlier spoke about joint ventures. There are so many international companies that would like to jointly give you capital in your business. Those you need to be very careful. Some of them are very imposing. They may give you conditions that are not favorable to you. So usually I would advise, if you would like to get into a joint venture capital equity funding, you get an expert who will then guide you for your own good, will give you pointers that you need to look out for, or will give you places where you can then protect your own space so that they don't come and take over from you. The other space where we see a lot of financing is in the fintech space, where fintechs come up and then they create a good platform and someone wants to come and invest in it. But also you can borrow from those spaces. We have places where you can, if you want more information, I can share with you, but you have spaces where companies then go online and they're looking for funding. Usually, I would not advise you to go singularly. You would have to get, for example, an advisor or an established fintech provider who will then guide you, because there are so many scammers along the chain. That is why conventional banking still remains the most secure to bank. And because I'm in banking, I would not advise anyone who is just starting to put their money into a space where you're not very sure. So the statistics, if I can go to the next slide, is that about 90% of small businesses, local business, say availability of credit is a problem. How do we then get this problem out of the way? How do we make ourselves bankable if out of 10 businesses, 9 of them are struggling to get financing? Then that is a very big issue and it needs to be addressed. We can't sit back. So I'm going to just discuss briefly what the lenders are looking out for when you come to borrow. What are we looking for? Sometimes I hear customers say, you're asking for too much information. One time, one customer said, should I bring my goats and pigs as well to make you happy? But so many times you feel like this is too much information, you're asking for too much. But there are 5 principles. There's a principle that guides us when we're looking at the credit worthiness of a client. They adapt as the 5 C's. They look at the character of a person. For example, if you're always in the news, being a nuisance or doing wrong things, usually banks will shy away from you. If you are causing, it doesn't even have to be a financial issue. If you have been caught in different dubious things, just know that the likelihood that you borrow from a bank is very, very low, because your character matters. We are giving you money that belongs to other people. We need to know that when you're given that money, you will keep it safe and return it to us. Then we also look at your cash flows. Cash flows, we are, of course, part of the financial statements that we have, where you then show us this is how much comes in, this is how I spend it, and then you show a projection as well and say, okay, in the next 1 year with this money of mine, I expect to do this. When we look at your cash flows, of course, we look at different variables, but when we look and we see, okay, you have a plan, you seem to know what you're doing, that makes your case much stronger than a person who has no cash flows. We look at your capital. What have you put in a business? If you want to set up, for example, a shop, and you come to the bank and say, I want 10 million, and the bank asks you how much of the 10 million are you putting in, and you say nothing, it makes it harder. it looks like you're not serious. But if you, for example, have about 2 million, 1 million, and say, I would like to have 10 million, I have 1 million shillings, that makes it a lot easier. And it's part of the commitment. You cannot start something when you have nothing. Then, of course, we look at the collateral that you're giving us, which is also a pain point for SMEs. And deep down, I'll show you some of the things that you can do to get collateral or to get guarantees. But that includes your property, your assets that you have, that the bank can have and say, in the event that you're not able to pay, this is what we will be able to convert. The primary goal of banks is not to take your collateral. And banks that do that, usually you will have to ask yourself, why would you lend me? Does it mean that you want to take something that belongs to me? So even if you have collateral, sometimes looking at your character, looking at your cash flows and capital will not, if they are adverse, we will still not give you the funding, even when you're fully collateralized. That's why all the other C's are very important. Then we look at the conditions in which you operate. For example, if you're dealing in firearms, no bank is going to lend to you. We look at the risk in your market. If the market risk within the space that you operate is high, then the likelihood that you're not going to get money is also very high. Now, I've given you that just to give you a background on some of the things that banks look at, but I'm going to take you through some of the things that we need to do to ensure that we secure our financing. One, you need to determine the amount and purpose of the financing required. When you underestimate or overestimate, when you underestimate, it means that project is not going to be completed, the purpose for which it was started will not be done, and then you'll have cash flow constraints because you will not be able to pay back the loan and it will give you problems. So it's important that before you go out to finance, sit down and ask yourself, how much do I need to complete this project? If you ask for more, the likelihood that you're going to divert these funds is very high. We had a customer whom we lent some money. He went and bought a car and got a second wife. And after 6 months, he was not able to pay because the purpose for which he told us he was getting the money was not done. Instead, the purpose for him was a wife and a car, which were not income generating for him. So you need to know, because when you divert your funds, first of all, CRB goes up. The next bank that you want to borrow from will refer to that CRB as well. And any adverse effects on your CRB, that's the Credit Reference Bureau. Sorry, I don't want to use jargons, the Credit Reference Bureau, then that means you're not going to get any lending from any bank. That's why you see people going to sharks who ask you for 20%, and before you know it, you've run out of business because you did not clearly define the purpose for your need. Then, of course, prepare your documentation very well. Get your business plan, get your financial statement, you have your credit history, and bring them to the bank. Then evaluate the different financing sources and their suitability. Usually, when you go to one place and they give you something, have a benchmark. I'm not saying go shopping in every bank because we are 25. By the time you finish, probably you've run out of business. But pick out one or two banks and say, let me evaluate and see who gives me the best option. Usually, there are relationship managers, there are branch managers that you can sit with, and they can also give you that kind of advice and guide you on what you probably need. Then, of course, you need to go to the bank and apply for it. And I'm sure you know this, but there is space for negotiation. We are not, financial institutions are not kings who sit on the throne and then dictate. You can negotiate your terms, your loan terms. That means a period within which you're going to pay. You can negotiate your interest rates. You can negotiate your repayment schedules. If, for example, your business cycle is that you get money after 3 months, no bank should impose you to pay on a monthly basis because you're going to default, because your business cycle shows that you get your money after 3 months. But if someone insists and says, no, we want it monthly, then they probably have not understood your cycle and are going to struggle. So sit and agree with your banker and let them understand why you are asking for those repayment period. If I go to the next slide, these are some of the checklists that this is not exhaustive, but it gives you an idea of some of the items that you need to look at when you are looking for financing. Ask yourself, what's the purpose of this money? And keep it that way. Be prudent enough to keep the money that you borrowed for the reason that you borrowed it. Then you ask yourself, how much do I need? Like I'd already mentioned, how long will it take you to pay back? If you are projecting to take it for a longer time, remember I'd said longer time gives you some leeway. You may pay less on a monthly basis, on a periodic basis, depending on what you've agreed with your banker. But when you calculate the interest, you find that you have paid much more when you take a longer time. So it's important that you sit and understand why you're doing, why your repayment period is either short or long. And if it's long and you know that you get your money, that is still fine, but you need to do it from an informed point of view. Then, of course, you also need to do what is the current financial shape of your business. Are you struggling? Are you thriving? Are you in an okay mode? And that also helps you, because then you determine how much do I need. If you're struggling, you need to be very sure that if this money comes, this is the plan that I'm going to do it, and it's going to take me out of this. Then also, how long have you been in business? Most banks, if you're an SME and you've not operated for at least 2 years, remember that the statistics I showed, they may not lend to you because the likelihood that you're going to close within 2 years is very high. So it's important that I know that some people get frustrated when banks don't lend to them and say, no, you've not operated for a specific period of time. But the reason is that way is that statistically, SMEs phase out within a specific period of time. Look at your collateral. How much collateral do I have? Can it cover me? If it can't, discuss with your banker, or you can go to an insurance company. Insurance companies actually provide guarantees. You can go to them and say, I have this loan, I'd like to borrow. My collateral covers me only 50%. Can you give me the extra 50%? And you can discuss with the insurance, they give us a guarantee, then we can lend to you. That option is there for you. Then you can also ask yourself, what is the interest rate? I'd already spoken about that. There are also what we call upfront fees. These are arrangement fees that you can discuss with the customer. There is also a place that you can negotiate. Sometimes fees are 2%, others they are 1%, others 0.5%. So depending on what they give you, there's still room for you to negotiate and ask if they can lower it for you. The lower for you, of course, is better for you. I'd already spoken about the frequency. There may be penalties. This, thankfully, is not there anymore. If you want to move your loan from one bank to another, previously they would charge you early repayment. But banks and the Uganda Bankers Association and Bank of Uganda agreed that we should not penalize any customer who would like to move. So if you feel like your bank is not understanding you and you're not having the right structure, it is okay for you to move that loan to another bank at no cost. No bank should charge you any penalty for early repayment for your loan. Then, of course, there are usually deadlines. When you're given an offer letter, it usually has about 1 month. Some banks it's 1 month, others it's 60 days. If you keep an offer letter for a period beyond what the bank has told you, that offer becomes null and void. That means you have to go back to the drawing board and start afresh. So also be careful. If you need the financing immediately once you're given an offer letter, take action and accept it or reject it if it doesn't fit within your requirements. So I'm now going to come home to NCBA. What can we do for you at NCBA with all that I have spoken about? One of the things that I mentioned in the beginning is that we have tried, and we are still trying really as much as possible, to tailor our solution to our clients' specific needs. Gone are the days when a bank would just say, take it or leave it. We're in a space where there's a lot of competition. The international market has been open to us. There are fintechs that are coming in. The telcos are lending. So we can't sit back. So we have now tried to customize our solutions to our client needs. That's why we have things like green financing. If you're in biogas, in solar, there are products that are specific for you and they're very favorable. Some of their rates are much, much lower. We have, for example, at NCBA, we have a partnership with equity funders. We have partnerships with risk guarantors who then take the risk from you. If you're borrowing 10 million shillings, let's say, and you've gone through them and they have approved you, they pay for you 30% of your loan. So they pay the 3 million immediately once the offer letter is given. So you're dealing with only 7%. And then there's a mechanism with which they follow you to support you, to look at your governance, to look at your structures, to make sure those structures the work for you. We have onboarded those. I've just given you one example, but we have quite a number of them. When you come to us, we're able to discuss with you and guide you. We also have partnerships in agri financing. If you'd like to finance agriculture, specific out of it's we don't do primary agriculture. We do processing and transport and adding value. We can also come and discuss where we give you very, very good rates that are much, much lower than what the market gives. We are very strong on asset financing. If you want to buy machinery, you would like to buy a car, we have a whole office of asset finance experts that can sit with you and structure something for you. Sometimes you may come and you don't know what kind of product you want, but when we sit with you, then we understand your business process. We're able to advise you what kind of solutions we can give you. We also have things like unsecured invoice discounting, where I had mentioned earlier, if you're supplying to a reputable corporate and we can bench on the corporate's commitment that they'll pay you, we give you an unsecured line, for example, line of credit or invoice discounting, which is renewable all the time. Depending on how you operate, it's even made stronger. Then we also have, for the individuals, we have created what we call diaspora banking. If you have people that are living out of the country, your children are studying in different countries, we're able to give them banking services even beyond the borders of Uganda. We have premier banking, where we have made we're trying to make your lifestyle better. We give you cards to travel with, we give you discounts on different places. So those are some of the things that we do for you. And I had mentioned we get expert advice. Right now, we have expert relationship managers who are certified in different areas. There is oil and gas, there is agriculture, there is manufacturing, so that when you come, we specifically get that certified relationship manager to then give you advice, not just to bank you, but to give you financial advice. And I had mentioned we give competitive rates and terms, and then we connect you to the world. We have partnered with world-class trainers. One of them is Strathmore, where we get CEOs and managers in different countries, in different areas. We bring you in a room and Strathmore trains you at a very discounted cost. Strathmore is extremely expensive, but we do that for our customers. Then we connect our customers to the world. We have global suppliers in China, in India, and on an annual basis or biannual basis, we get selected candidates. Then we travel with them to those countries and expose them to those suppliers to agree on good terms for buying from them. So those are some of the tailored solutions that we at NCBA have created for our customers to ensure that we then don't give you blanket solutions, but we speak directly to your need. So Doris, I am done. I hope I have kept the time. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olivia. This was very, very informative and quite captivating. I know many of us have a love-hate relationship with banks.
Yes.
But we can't do away with them. We need them, especially those of us in as we grow our businesses, as we come out of being small enterprises, and we're just looking to also touch the world and come out of being just a small entity somewhere. And those are some of the challenges that we're consistently having, even with banking. And as we wait for people to come in with their questions, this is sort of a question. Is not really related to NCBA or anything, but I was just thinking, if I'm in 2-3 years, I'm still a startup, right? You'd still, as a bank, you'd still consider me as a startup. But if I'm at that point where I believe I have, I've kept my books of accounts well, I've been following, the process the way it should be. How then do I get, and then I realize I've come to a point where now I need to scale up, I need to grow, but I need funding and support from a bank. Randomly, not just in particularly with NCBA, how would I then What advice would you give this person on selecting the right kind of bank to go to? Because there's a whole plethora of them. How
Yeah.
do I sit down and say, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one? Do I walk into each one of them and hear what they have to say? How do I find that bank that I feel, okay, I have found a good deal, I am comfortable, I'm happy, I can move with these ones?
Okay, thank you, Doris. I think the first thing that you need to have, one of the first things that you need to know is convenience.
Mhm.
How convenient can I access that bank? Do they have online banking that I can go to? Are they responsive if you send an email and they respond to you immediately, or you
Mhm.
send a request and they come back to you after 2 weeks? Then you look at their financial performance. Are they solid? Is it a bank that you had in the recent past? Some banks have been downgraded. So that is also important for you to know that I'm dealing with a bank that is solid, is not going to go down any minute. The other thing that you need to
Mhm.
do is, first of all, understand what you want. Because when you understand what you want, it makes it a lot easier. Banks were almost all the same. Uh, I have been in this is my third bank. For the last 17 years, I've been in banking. So we move,
Oh.
we move. So it's the same people, but usually it's your convenience. How convenient is that place for you? How responsive are their people? How willing are they to listen? Some
Mhm.
banks are rigid and they say, no, you take it or leave it. But is it a bank that listens to you? One of the banks is called Our Bank. They identify themselves with a Muntu Wawansi. So when
Mhm.
you have someone that listens to you, that is willing to give you an extra mile, then it makes it a lot easier. You can trust that they will have your interests at heart. So it's an array of things. I don't have something that I can say, oh, go to bank A or
Mhm.
go to bank B, but usually have convenience at the back of your mind,
Okay.
responsiveness of that bank, and ability to listen to you and tailor your solution to your specific requirements, not giving you a blanket solution.
Okay, that's good advice, and I think that sort of ties into the question that Wycliffe has here, where he's saying, "How do you demonstrate empathy and understanding when working with clients who may be experiencing financial difficulties or stress?" Olivia froze.
Somewhere, the
Hello.
question? Yes, I can hear you, Doris.
Okay. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, I've seen it. How do you demonstrate empathy and understanding when working with clients who may be experiencing financial difficulties or stress? Okay,
Mhm.
so we have a full department called Remedial. And in our department called Remedial, our team's mandate is to actually sit with the customer and understand what the issue is. And some of them we sit in their meetings, their management meetings, just to understand where is the problem. We look at their financials, we sit with them and tell them, bring your financials, tell us your operations, how do you operate? Some of them will even go and sit in their shops or just to see what is happening. Are they managing the cash flows? Are people stealing money from them? Uh, do they have a weak management of their cash flows? Is the lead being rough on his people and he's having high turnover, non-commitment from their staff? So that team specifically looks at customers who are frustrated, but they want to understand what is going on, and then they advise
Mhm.
them what this is what you need to do. So a number of banks, I'm just speaking for NCBA, but I know a number of banks have created that space between the guy who comes for his money and this guy who comes and said, okay, I know you're struggling, but how do we help you to get out of this before we can actually do what many people hate us for? So we
What
have
have you
that
What have
neat
you called that team?
remedial team.
Remedial team.
Yeah.
So remedial team will be sent to me, or do I have to look for them?
No, no, they'll look for you. Once you get in distress,
After you have
there are triggers.
after the bank
Yeah,
has
so there are
threatened me 3 times.
there are triggers in the system. Once you
Mhm.
miss the first day, you get an email. Second day, third day, fourth day, Then you begin signs of struggle come. Then someone from remedial will call you and say, "Are you struggling? Can we meet and talk?" And then they're able then to understand what is going on. So when that fails, that's when we get the other tough guys to come in.
Oh, good. Interesting. Hope you can unmute and ask your question. And the other person with the Samsung, please rename before I give you the mic.
Thank you so much, Olivia. First, I want to thank you because you've spoken so well and educated us who are on this other side. But I felt like many people didn't know about this kind of very important talk. How do we make sure that we reach many with very important information about banking, how we can acquire the loans, the friendly services that are available? But I've also put a question on the chat. Is it the chat or on the Q&A? There's a lot of phobia regarding bank loans. I think
Yes.
we need a lot of awareness creation and sensitization, and I do not know. So this what did we call it? The upcoming event. How does it help? Who is invited?
The BNI
And
Expo.
yes, when is it, and who is invited, and us who are not necessarily bankers, can we also come and learn? Thank you.
Okay, I'll answer that as Olivia will answer the first part of the question.
Okay, good. Okay, so Hope, thank you. Hope, by the way, it's my childhood friend. We've been friends since we're in primary. So, but I don't think we've ever had this discussion, professional discussion. But thank you very much, Hope. You're right. There is a lot of, and I want to not to protect or defend the banks. There's a lot of misinformation about banks, and some of it has been created by us as bankers, stemming from the traditional banking where we were always the bosses. And I remember when we'd be going to pay school fees, when the branch manager wanted to eat or the teller, they'll just close their till and walk away, and they leave you in a line when you're going to pay school
Yeah.
fees. But that is gone.
I
And that
remember
is a
those days.
perception that, yes, and that's a perception that so many people still have, but banking is changing. And you're right, there is so much awareness that needs to be done. And some of the things that we are doing is, for example, partnering with BNI. We have actually, we are sponsors. We know the potential that BNI members have, and we want to be part of them to then support the members to grow their business and thrive. So thank you. I'm aware of time, so I'll stop there. Doris, I'll give you back to answer the
Okay,
other
great. Hope and our other audience. So the Business Network International is an international group of business people. Rather, it's an organization that brings together different businesses to refer each other to grow each other's businesses. And this year we are holding what we're calling a BNI Expo, the first of its kind, just to really expose what BNI is to the Ugandan community and people in business in general. In Uganda, currently, we have over 350 businesses that are already engaged and working together and growing together under the BNI arm. And they will all be at that expo. Some will be showcasing their work. Others will be, other parts of the expo will include panel discussions like what Olivia just gave us. So Olivia is probably the same person who will be there in one of the sessions there. Just talk about different things. We're partnering with government entities as well. Some of our webinars, we've been talking to different government entities, URSB, we have UIA next week, we've had Export Promotion Board. We're looking at having a holistic kind of space where businesses that are looking for support to grow, are looking for support to open up new markets in new regions, and anything you can think of, we will have in that one room. It's a 2-day event, 31st of May, which is Friday, and 1st of June at the Uma Showgrounds. We'll, of course, have people attending from over 10 different countries. We have other BNI members from other countries that are coming in to also be part of this showcase. So if you can, as much as possible, if you're in business, you've been wondering, you're feeling all alone and unsupported, you've just found yourself deciding to go into business and you don't know who to hold your hand, come into this space on those days. Entry fee is only 10,000 shillings for each day, but the amount of information that you'll get there will be well worth it. So thank you. Let me go to the questions. Samsung has still not renamed themselves, but here's your question. Are loans transferred in the event that someone is not able to clear their loans? Oh, he says it's Polycap from Gulu, I hope. Are loans transferred in the event that someone's not able to clear their loans? Transferred to who? Olivia, as you think about that one, there's another one, Wycliffe again. He says, how do you stay current with industry trends, economic changes, and regulatory issues that impact banking and finance? We'll first deal with those and then we continue with the next set.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll start with Polycap. There are different reasons why people fail to pay for their loans. So, depending on the bank that you've approached, they may look at your case and ascertain that you did not pay your loan simply because of character issues, or simply because you did not manage your finances or you did not manage your business well. Most banks will shy away from such loans. They will not take them. So you don't even have the option of moving it because no bank wants to take it. So you leave it in that space. But then there are moments when genuinely you have not been able to pay because of reasons beyond your control, and a bank can exclusively look at it and they can ascertain that you have the potential to grow and become better. It's just that conditions, for example, were wrong. I have an example. There's a client whose trading cycle was 3 months, but a bank insisted on them paying on a monthly basis. They failed to pay for their loan and they were always in distress. So when a bank looks at that and they realize, oh, you were given a wrong product, we can't be able to structure that loan, and it's working. So those cases are there, and a bank would be willing to take that. But where there are character issues and mismanagement, no bank will want to take that, and usually you will have to leave it in the place where it was originated. The second one, how do you keep in touch with business trends? There are different things that you do. One of them is that I don't know if you're asking as a banker or as a private person, but some of the things that you can go to Bank of Uganda website has a lot of information. There's so much that is there that's specifically for you. There's so much that we as customers take that we shouldn't be taking, and because we don't, the Bible actually says that my people die because of lack of knowledge. When you don't know something, you die, you suffer in it. So go to the Bank of Uganda website, read what is there. Go to the Ministry of Finance website, read what is there. Did you, for example, know that Uganda has they have created, it's called UECCC that is financing, working with banks and financing people in the green energy sector. And they are amazing products. But when you don't know it, I will ask if you can please Google UECCC, triple C. You will see some of the loans that are provided at your disposal, but we're not using them. And the funds are there. End of year, the funds are taken back because we don't know. So look into those websites. Should be able to guide you. Bank of Uganda, Ministry of Finance, and different other websites. Really, you can go. You can also go to the to Reuters, Bloomberg. They give you a perspective on what is happening in the world, so that you're able to meet both local and global challenges. So, thank you very much.
Yeah. Olivia, Enoch has a question. He says he hasn't had a company bank account in the past, but he has a CRM system that has logged his previous invoices, clients, and payments. If he wanted a loan, would NCBA Bank be able to support him?
So I would ask him, is he operating as an individual with a company? If he is, then he's bankable, because I've seen a number of our we have some clients who then operate as Olivia, but they have Olivia and Daughter's company. So even if Olivia and Daughter's company does not have a history, Olivia has a bank statement for the last a bank account for the last 6 years, and it shows very good debits and credits on it. So the bank can use your statement, and then they assess you and they're able to give you funding depending on you as an individual, even if your company doesn't show any payments. Of course, we would encourage customers to use their accounts, their company accounts, to operate, but especially in the SME space, you will always find people who are operating under their names on behalf of their company. So those individual discussions can happen, and banks are willing to listen to you and give you a solution. So yes, you're bankable.
Okay. There you go, Enoch. It's a good thing you've been keeping track and good records of everything. James from Hinga Capital, he says relationship is key for any funder, borrower, or saver. This should be the same, seamlessly good, and not only when one has challenges. Many times customers want to withhold information from their funders, and at times this is mostly the cause of bad relationships between customers, banks, and funders. I know James is saying this because it comes from Hinga Capital and their venture capitalists. So he's just adding on to that, ideally the relationship should be good.
Yes, thanks, James.
Thank you, James. Are there any other questions, team? Or at this point, can we ask Olivia to just wrap up with with a call to action? You know, what is NCBA? We know you are a merger between something and something, CBA and national
And
someone.
NIC, yes,
Yes, that one. NC.
yes.
So we were wondering, so when you merged, how is it? Is business better? Are you more caring of your customers? Should we carry all our accounts and move to NCBA? I mean, yeah. You know, we are wary of new banks and we
Stories.
are all stuck with the older ones. Yet you probably
Yes,
would be offering us something really great, and we just haven't
yes.
given you an opportunity to tell us what you have.
Thank you, Doris. In fact, NCBA is older than Uganda because it was
Is
established
it?
before 1962. Yes, it's just that it was not existing in Uganda. But NCBA is a merger between NIC Bank and CBA. Our headquarters are in Kenya. We operate in 5 countries within East Africa, and we are venturing out into West Africa. We are a digital bank. We actually have of almost 60 million customers, and that has been enabled because of our digital platform. If any of you has borrowed from MTN, you have probably then banked with NCBA, because we are the engine behind the MTN Momo Cash, and of course they have brought in other partners, but we were the original partners, and we've collaborated with them for many years. That's why we have a scale of the millions of people that I have spoken about. So we skew more towards corporates. So what we do, we understand that the corporates are the big boys, but then the people that support them are you and I, the SMEs. I'm the one that supplies you with sorghum if you want to make beer. I'm the one that gives you my workers. I'm the one that provides that you subcontract to do a road. So there's a lot of support that is given to these. That's why I said, if you're supplying to a corporate and I can bank on the corporate and he commits to me that he's going to make a payment to you, I am able to give you unsecured lending just because I have commitment from the corporate. So that is how we've looked at our business. What synergies do you have? I like the BNI concept, getting one, and then you create a chain. So when the chain is there, you can trust that chain. If, for example, Doris came and told me a lie, I can walk to Dr. Bachenga Vincent and say, Doris told me a lie. Dr.
Sure.
Bachenga Vincent will come for you. So we
Yeah.
have that concept where we know that because we support each other's business, we're able then to come together and become very strong together. So that is our concept, where we look at the holistic business. We don't just look at one person on an individual. We look at your network. Who do you work with? Who can vouch for you? and then we're able to support that. We are also very strong on our premier customers. We believe that you should live a lifestyle of hassle free. You need to enjoy when you're traveling. For example, if you're an NCBA customer and a premier customer, when you're traveling across the world, you just need to show your card and you have access to over 12,000 VIP lounges at the airports. You don't have
Wow.
to sit in that Kayola place and wait for the plane to come. You go and sip some wine. You're treated by beautiful ladies at no cost to you. NCBA takes that cost wherever you are across the world in those places. If you
Wow.
book a hotel room using our card, we immediately upgrade you to the second level. We give you travel insurance, we give you family insurance, we insure your loans and your family. If in the eventuality that something happens to you, we carry you up to that last place I don't want to mention, but we do that for you at no extra cost. The only cost that you pay is 60,000 shillings on a monthly basis. But we want to provide you with a lifestyle that you have. If you, for example, purchase something with our card online and it gets stolen, we pay it back up to $5,000. If you spoil it within a specific period of time, we pay it back up to $5,000. If it gets lost along the way and it's not received, we pay it also up to $5,000. So it's a lot. I can't say it. I would be
Wow.
glad to speak that about our bank. But if you came and we spoke to you, we had a chance to speak to you, we would give you an array of our solutions that we offer. Then the other thing that we do is, of course, those trainings. We give subsidized trainings for different people to ensure that you keep updated, you keep the lifestyle that you'd like to have. So thank you very much. And we would love to
Wow.
have you. Please come and join NCBA family. It will be our honor and pleasure to serve you.
I am sold. I'm coming to open an account. So we're
Yay.
looking forward to having you at the BNI Expo. I believe you'll have an exhibition stall or something, or a space where
Yes,
you'll be saying something. So
yes.
please come equipped and armed with as much information as you can, and let's work together to ensure that we grow the businesses in Uganda. So Enoch is asking for your number. Enoch is the one who says he has a CRM and he wants to open up to get a loan, and if he can be
Okay,
supported. Are you happy to share your
okay.
number or your email?
I'm happy to. Actually, I've put both of them on the presentation that I've shared to you. So
Okay.
it's right there. But I can also put it on the chat
Yeah,
so that
please
you're
type
able
it in
to
the chat,
see.
might be
Okay.
quicker and easier.
Mm.
Okay.
Here's my number.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing. Let me see if I can put it here for the rest of for everybody. The rest might not be seeing it.
Oh, okay.
So let me just see everyone. Here it is. Answer here.
Okay. Great.
Okay. Enoch, I hope you were able to see the message in the chat. I hope you were able to see the chat there. Good. Okay. And with that, I would like to say thank you. Thank you once again for your time. Everybody who's been on the call. If you're a BNI member, you earn yourself a CEU point, and you can go log that in as your learning for today. And we are glad that NCBA is coming on board. We're looking forward to next weekend. It's going to be an awesome, amazing, and with partners like you, we know that our businesses can only soar. So thank you, everybody, and have a good day.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next week.
See you next week, Olivia.
Doris, please go ahead and end the session.
Okay, I thought you wanted to chat with me.
Please, make me host.